this summer, we're not doing feminine energy. We're doing single girl energy. And the reason why single girl energy is actually a little more powerful, especially if you're someone who's used to being a people pleaser, or you're a girly who's like always, you feel like when you're in a relationship, or even when you're not in a relationship, or you're just like dating casually, you feel like you're always the one who's way more invested. Then single girl energy is going to be way better for you than feminine energy, and single girl energy can also help you heighten your feminine energy, heighten your power, make you feel more calm, and make you feel more at ease. So let's talk about what is single girl energy. Single girl energy is essentially the type of energy that you channel when you get out of a relationship. A lot of girls that go out of a relationship, they leave their man, they leave whatever it is that they've been stuck in. Suddenly they feel free, and they actually feel like they can tune in to the version of themselves that they deserve to be. And this is why when I talk about single girl energy, this is an energy that you can tap into even if you're not even single. If you're married, you can tap into this energy. If you're, dating around, if you're just someone who doesn't even care about men, you can tap into single girl energy. Single girl energy means that you put yourself first, and you are going to focus on your growth. And if you do not have time for your growth, then there's something wrong. Because the same way that a religious person gets up in the morning and prays and puts their relationship with God first, what you need to do when you're channeling into single girl energy is that you need to put your relationship with yourself first. You cannot have a relationship with a man, you cannot have a relationship with anyone else before you have a relationship with yourself. And single girl energy is an energy where you strictly focus on saying, what do I want? What do I need? This is why it's such a powerful energy for people pleasers, for girlies that are always overcompensating, oversharing, trying to always do more for other people instead of getting anything back. And they wonder why they're just like sitting there doing so much but never getting reciprocation. This is why single girl energy is more powerful than feminine energy, because feminine energy has a tendency to focus on, how do I become more feminine so that I get more from other people? But single girl energy is actually focused on you tuning into giving yourself everything that you need first so that you feel full, of energy. If you ever thought about this, let me give you a scenario. Say that a pizza guy, comes up to your house and you do not have any food in the house. The house is completely empty. There's no food for you to eat. Even if this pizza is not exactly what you ordered, you might be like, you know what? Give me that pizza, because you're starving. But if your pantries were full, if you're like, you have, a bits of pieces of food in the freezer, you have a little bit here, a little bit there. If the pizza guy came to your house and was delivering a pizza that's not exactly the pizza you wanted, then you would be like, you know what, this is not what I ordered and I want something else. And if you're not going to bring me exactly what I ordered, then I'm not going to give you the money. I'm not going to accept this service. I'm just going to move on because I have food in the house. This is exactly how single girl energy operates, because it's focused on you understanding that you are full. It's focused on you pouring into yourself first and foremost so that you have enough. It's basically like having a cup of water, a bottle of water, and it being so full that it literally flows over. And you can only start pouring into a relationship or other people or whatever it is you're trying to do in your life if your bottle is full. But a lot of the time, if you are a people pleaser, if you are, for example, like me, I'm a neurodivergent girly, maybe you grew up believing that you need to be nice because that's the type of BS that society always spits. They're always telling you, oh, you need to be a nice girl, and, we always need to be good towards each other, and you should treat people how you want to be treated. Then there's a tendency for you to go like this. You have less water in your water bottle, but you still feel like you need to tap into other people. And eventually this water bottle becomes completely empty. And then you're wondering why you're feeling so drained. You're just trying to pour into people because you're hoping that they're going to pour into you. No. Other people are like a desert. They're just going to take your water and they're going to dry it out, and they're not going to give anything back. And this is exactly how men operate, especially if they clock that you are a nice girl. Especially when you're very young, they clock very quickly that you're a nice girl, and they clock that you're willing to be around these men, accompany these men, entertain these men, because that's what you're doing by being in their company for nothing. Maybe even a coffee. Maybe you're the one paying for the coffee. But when you're in a single girl energy, basically what you've done is that you've left a relationship. Your bottle, maybe it's not even full, but you understand that it needs to be. It needs to be full because that's why you had the guts to leave that relationship. You left that relationship because it's like, you know what? My bottle's not full anymore. My bottle's not full anymore, and it deserves to be. And then you start pouring into yourself. Pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And that's why single girl energy is actually much more potent and much more powerful, but it's also much more protective than feminine energy, because single girl energy is you learning to use assertiveness, being mean, setting boundaries, and not just being the nice girl. Because I think what usually a lot of the times what we confuse feminine energy with, which is not what feminine energy is, but that's what we kind of like get an image of, especially on social media, is that feminine energy is all about you being so nice and accommodating, and like you looking like a little floral fairy, and then just taking whatever, like just being like, oh my god, so nice. But single girl energy is saying no and using no as a full sentence, and not being afraid of saying, I'm going to take up space, and I'm going to take up so much space that if you want to be in my space, you're going to have to expand my space so I can expand more. You cannot shrink my space because I already take up too much space. And that is why the single girl energy, you got to think about someone like Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. Think about someone like, what's her name? Gabrielle Solis in Desperate Housewives. These girlies, they might be in a relationship and they might just be single, but these girlies understand that they are still going to put energy into themselves. They're still going to make an effort with themselves. They're still going to wake up in the morning and act like they're that single girl that just got their freedom. That's how you gotta act when you step into the world every single day, because that energy, not only is it gonna keep your current partner, your husband, whoever it is that's in your life, it's gonna keep them interested, it's gonna keep them on their toes, it's gonna keep them investing in you. Because you know what, a lot of the times what happens when we get into a relationship is that everything like fades away. It's like, okay, now I can just wear my hair up, not brush it. I can wear baggy pants that are a little dirty, and I can just like, we can just be comfy. But it's the effort of being unattainable, the effort of you waking up in the morning and saying, I'm wearing a full face of makeup, I'm wearing heels, I'm looking hot. That's the energy that makes people understand that they can never shrink you. And that's an energy that keeps people in check, and it's an energy that keeps people pouring into you. This is why it's really, really great to channel that energy if you're single. Because that way you're going to make sure that you're not going to allow no dusties, no bums into your life that are going to try to make you settle for less. But it's also very powerful and very potent when it comes to you being in a relationship, being in a marriage, because you are going to step into a version of yourself that is still going to work on yourself. Because a lot of the time for women, as soon as they find a man, it's like, okay, I'm done. And that's why the man ends up like finding this woman really, really boring. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm just like, she's going to stick around no matter what. No matter if you're single or if you're married, you're going to have to keep men on their toes. And the way that you keep men on their toes is by you looking good. It's by you waking up every single morning thinking to yourself, what would I do today if I was single? And I'm not saying you should go out and cheat or anything. No. But like, how would I carry myself? How would I do my makeup? How would I show up? What would I say? What would I, what standards would I accept less? What things would I accept less in my life? Because this is how you transform yourself from being a doormat into being the dream girl. Channeling that single girl energy, even if you're in a relationship, even if you have kids. Because men, especially in society as well, are going to clock, okay, this girl, she's not going to put her life on pause just because she's in relationships with other people, just because she has friends, just because she's someone for other people. She's going to pour into herself first. And if you're not going to let her pour into herself, if you're not going to give her that space so she can grow, she's not going to be there for long. And that's how they're going to pour into you again and again and again. And they're going to actually make you more feminine. Because you tapped into a part of yourself that's more masculine by saying, I'm not dealing with this, I'm leaving. And that makes you able to actually protect your feminine energy even more. So single girl energy is really, really powerful. If you've ever read the book Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady, I can totally recommend it. But this book talks exactly about how you gotta be more stern, you gotta have stronger boundaries, and you gotta be more just discernment. You gotta have discernment, girl. And this discernment does not come from you being like, okay, I'm comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with you being comfortable and like wearing something more comfortable on the regular, like if you're at home. But you are gonna see less of an effort from the world when you start acting like nothing matters, because now you're in this love bubble. The love bubble is actually very, very dangerous for girls to enter into. And I'm not saying you can't have a fun time and a good time with a man that takes care of you, but a lot of the time this is where we go blind on a man, and this is where we don't pick up on his early red flag signs. When we instead tap into the single girl energy, where it's like, you know what, a man gotta be our employee if he wants to have us in our life. If he wants to be in my life, he's gotta be my employee. He's gotta, do something. Then we're also much more eager and we're much more like aware of quality checking our employee, quality checking men. Because if he acts up, then we're clocking it much better, because it's like, is this guy gonna be in my life for a long time, or is he just gonna remain an intern for a little bit until he doesn't deserve to be in the company? When you're a single girl energy, when you're in single girl energy in general, no matter if you're married or not, think about your husband is like your executive, like he's like working under you, but you've given him that promotion. But every other man, and especially if you're a single girl, most men in your life are going to be interns, and they're going to have to do labor in order for you to consider hiring them. And this does not even mean that you're going to be in a relationship with them. You hiring them for a minor position in the company, like something very small, that means that they get a little bit more access to your energy, very much little, but it doesn't mean that you spill all of your secrets. It doesn't mean that you tell them everything that you got going on. It doesn't mean that you reveal everything that this company stands for, you, the company. And that way you keep a better distance emotionally from men, because you're wondering, oh, you know what, this man didn't do a good enough job as my intern. I'm gonna have to write that in my little portfolio of whether he's doing a good enough job or not. And then you become much more better at having that discernment and setting those standards. And honestly, it's a really, really good way to keep men in check. And it's also a really, really good way to make sure that you stay in that single girl energy where your energy is protected. As I said before, when you step into single girl energy, you actually heighten some of your masculinity a bit more, like your discernment, you're taking action and not being like afraid of cutting people out. And that masculine energy, that actually heightens your feminine energy, because instead of you just tapping into only feminine energy without having protected yourself, when you tap into the masculine energy a little bit, like the discernment, the taking action, the being decisive, then suddenly you're going to have more space. You're going to have better resources, because you're not going to deal with people that don't have resources, and you're going to actually be able to allow yourself to step into energy that is feminine more. So you're actually going to be balancing your feminine and your masculine energy even better, and you're gonna get better at just setting boundaries. So essentially, single girl energy is something that is very wise for you to tap into if you're someone who is a people pleaser, if you're an overcompensator, if you're a neurodivergent girly who always feels like you're doing more for other people and you can't clock what people got going on, so you want to just do more to feel like you're controlling the situation. The only thing you have to control is yourself. The only thing that you have to control is where you want your life to go. Can change every day, but you know what, it's good to have a plan. It's good to say, this is what I want, and I don't want anything less than this. You have to focus on everything that you want, everything that you couldn't do when you were caught up in the taken girl energy or the desperate girl energy. That is what you have to channel in your single girl energy. And that is why single girl energy is so potent, it's so protective, it's so amazing. And you know what, I want to talk about this single girl energy more in another video, so let me know in the comment section if you want me to talk more about this. And also let me know in general, like I want to do a Q&A session soon, so if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you liked single girl energy. Go channel your single girl energy. You deserve it. Love you.